You left. You did the thing that everyone said would fix it. So why do you still feel like this? Maybe you're laying awake at night missing him and you hate that. Or maybe everyone around you is relieved that you're out of it, but you still feel very much so in it because you're tormented either by the memories from the past or by him in your present. I want to reassure you that there's nothing wrong with you and you haven't made a mistake. You're just figuring out the thing that no one warned you about, and that is leaving isn't the fix. But in this video, we'll talk about what is. Welcome to The Other Side. My name is Kerrie Hudson. I'm a therapist and a guide, helping women to break toxic relationship patterns, reclaim their confidence, and develop the blueprint for healthy, lasting love. And in the next few minutes, we are going to talk about why the pain stays after he's gone and how to heal it. Because leaving wasn't the finish line, it was the starting line, it was the beginning. So let's get into it. Because often there is this relief that comes with walking away. There is a huge sigh of relief when you have done the thing that maybe you've contemplated, or maybe it never crossed your mind to leave, but you were so knee deep in it and consumed by the relationship that when you finally got that like break in that moment to walk away, it was like, there was, even if he's the one who walked away, sometimes there is a relief because you could have never done it for yourself. So, there is this moment of relief that comes from ending a toxic, especially abusive relationship. But there is also the importance of knowing that leaving isn't the end all be all, right? When you walk away from a relationship like that, you walk away with some stuff, right? This person you were with has left indelible prints on you, right? Prints that you maybe haven't quite even taken the time to assess what's there, right? How have I changed? How have I been transformed? What impact has this relationship had on me? And the truth is that all relationships do this, healthy or unhealthy. That's the power of neuroplasticity. And that's this concept that the brain is malleable, it's moldable, right? If we are in a condition, an emotional or psychological condition, that we don't have to necessarily stay that way. So depression doesn't have to last. Anxiety doesn't have to last. Your anxious attachment doesn't have to stay an anxious attachment your entire life, right? And so that's the wonderful news about neuroplasticity. The drawback is that because you can change fairly easily with significant work or focused work, you can change easily while stewing in a toxic or abusive environment. It's going to change the way that you see yourself. It's going to change your beliefs. It's going to change the way you interact with the world around you. And so when you walk out of a relationship, you walk away with everything that relationship poured into you and poured onto you, right? So, you're walking out and there's a sigh of relief that it's over. I think the sigh of relief speaks to or points to the possibility for healing and for change. And, spoiler alert, that's the secret. Heal, right? And we'll talk more about that. But the reality is when you walk out of a relationship, again, you walk out with a lot of the stuff from that relationship on you, right? The ways in which you see yourself as worthy or not, the ways in which you will talk to yourself, sometimes even the ways in which you interact with other people. I've worked with women who have walked out of relationships and couldn't hold a conversation with a man because that could not happen in that relationship. And even though that man who set that rule is nowhere around, nowhere to be seen or found, that mark is still there. The fear is still very present and very real in terms of being able to have conversations with a man, right? Or whatever it is. Maybe they impacted the way that you dress. Now you have to think twice about putting on something that you really want to wear. Or, you know, the ways in which you address certain people or what words are in your vocabulary, right? You might have had to change the way that you speak, the way that you do anything, right? I've had people being criticized for how they load dishes in the dishwasher and being sort of having some trepidation around washing dishes, um, all sorts of things, right? And they may feel little, and for some things, or for some of us, they're more easily overcome than others. But when you have been conditioned in a relationship, even as an adult, to show up a certain way, it takes time for that conditioning to change. And then we have to talk about the reality of, if you were in an abusive relationship and you walk away, you have not walked away easily, okay, or freely. If there's children involved, I've had women contact me who've had no children involved, but they're still being surveilled by their ex. Their phones are have trackers and all sorts of things on it, and they can't seem to get away. And on some level, it could be some paranoia, but I understand it, right? Because when you walk away and you start to see the way in which this person becomes someone different, still the same person, not totally surprising, but still there's a level of shock in terms of how sociopathic a person can become simply because you walked away from them. And ultimately, if you've been in an abusive relationship, which ultimately means synonymous with being controlled, right? Control is abuse. Abuse is control. Um, so if you've been in an abusive relationship where you've been controlled, this person does not want to let you go that easily. And if you walk away, now you have become the enemy, right? They have literally set it in their mind to wage war on you, right? You are an object of their attention, and you don't want it anymore, right? You've walked away, and on some level, if you reach a certain point after having walked away from the relationship, you just want peace. Please just go. You really don't. If you have, sort of a healthy perspective, you don't want to pawn them off on anyone else. But on some level, there is a relief that comes, like, please just go find someone else, right? And again, you don't really want that for any other woman, the things that you've gone through, but it would bring relief for you, right? And so, if you are going to walk away and to really walk in the newness of life, it requires you to be a new person. You have to really begin to adopt and embody something new. You have to begin to shed all of the beliefs and all of the ideas about yourself that cause you to walk into that relationship in the first place. So, this sort of work and healing that's required is much deeper than just healing from this relationship, right? Because there is some conditioning that prepares you for this relationship. Because if you don't, the reality is that it's very likely you're going to walk into the next relationship and it's going to be worse, right? Again, countless women is sort of the pattern. They've been in an abusive relationship, or they've seen their track record in relationships, and the most recent one is always the worst one. It was sort of a progression where it started off with maybe, this one just talked to me crazy. This one was unfaithful and just did this. This one started to emotionally abuse me. This one physically abused me, right? And so, if you have that experience where you've dated multiple people, or you go to date multiple people, it's very likely that you're going to find yourself in a relationship with someone who's worse than the last person. So it is in your best interest, and I behoove you, right, to pause and to do the work. And I will tell you that sometimes it feels easier to just go back to either the same person or a similar type of person to endure whatever it is, right? Because this pain, I know. This toxicity, I understand. I know how to manage it, right? I'd rather be with the devil I know. And the truth is, you don't. Because you don't know how bad it's going to get. And I think I've shared this in a previous video about narcissists leaving, in terms of, when you return, they actually get worse. So not only will you return and this person gets worse because they've been emboldened and know that you're going to return to the same type of treatment, but you're likely to also find someone else who's worse. So you're sort of at a crossroads, right? Do I continue the way that I've been going with all of the same thoughts and beliefs, or do I want to choose better for myself, right? And, the latter fork is the unknown. You don't know what's there. But, the one thing that I knew and understood when I reached that fork in the road was that the latter road had to be better than what I've experienced. And that was the one thing that sort of propelled me through. And I think it propels most women through, that where I've been can't be, the best that I can do. That if I do some things differently, it's got to get better. And it will. Right? And so in terms of this neuroplasticity and the power of change and transforming the brain to seek out better, to expect better, it just comes with time and lots of intention around what it is that you want to accomplish, right? For me in the group that I've developed, the restoration group, the goal here is to become the woman who can no longer be abused, who can no longer be entertained by the same type of relationship that she was entertained by before. The woman who no longer seeks after pain and settles for pain in search of love. The two are not synonymous. They are not the same, right? So the reason why you have walked out of this relationship and nothing has changed is because you haven't changed, right? And you can wait it out, and with time there may be some relief. But the reality is if you don't get up and fight for you, whether it's, sort of a battle that you might have found yourself in with your ex, or a battle between you and you, the old you, the painful you, the hurt you, and the you that's crying for something better. She's there. I know she is. Right? There is a part of you that wants more for yourself. You're just afraid. And let me reassure you that fear in this case is sort of like a phantom, right? It's not based on anything real, because the fear is the unknown, the thing that I just don't know what's ahead of me. And none of us do. That's why we begin to take risks. And in this case, the risk is betting on yourself, betting on your healing, right? This isn't about ultimately getting into a relationship with someone else. The first step is getting into a relationship with yourself and understanding you better. And so, as you do that, even your friends, your family, the people who want the best for you, they may not understand all the things that you're going through. They may not understand even the changes that you make for yourself. Because in some regard, especially if they're family, they're probably part of the problem without recognizing it a lot of times. So I really want to encourage you to, really pause and to reflect on where you've been. And if you don't like where you are now, it's about changing directions and changing course for your future. And part of changing course is taking the time to heal. There's no magic pill that's going to change any of this for you. There's no quick fix. There's no easy way. It's healing, right? And similar to, if you've broken a bone or you've cut your skin, that healing process it agitates. It's a little painful at times. It's irritating, right? You can feel your skin itching as it's healing, and all the cells and things are coming back together, or the bones are fusing. Never broken a bone, thank you, God. I hope I never do. But the pain of that fusion of the bone coming back together. So I want to really encourage you to expect it to be hard. But in this case, you would be picking your hard. And when you pick the right hard, then the reward and the payoff is joy in the end, right? When you get to this unknown place called healing, there's happiness, there's joy. It's still hard, there are still risks. You're still going to have to encounter challenging people, but you encounter them in a different way. Okay? And so, if this is you, if you are sitting in a painful place right now, it's dark, it's lonely, you don't know really how you got here, you don't know how to get out of here, I want to encourage you to take one small step. I have a relationship pattern diagnostic that I want to invite you to take. And it's just one small step to sort of see your pattern from a different perspective. You take it, you'll instantly be emailed the results, and you'll be able to stay connected with me and learn more about yourself. And if you know, reach that point where you want to actually do some deeper work, there is the restoration group where we spend 7 weeks and women are seeing real transformation, right? And so I want to invite you to just stay connected, again, to take the diagnostic and to reach out if you have any questions, if you have any topics that you want me to address, please feel free. But for now, I want to thank you for tuning into this video. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, and you will be notified when new videos drop every other Sunday on Break Free Sundays. Thank you. Take care.